What if I disappeared for an entire week and nobody noticed? The thought arrived quietly, late one night, while I was scrolling through 100 faces that weren't really looking at me. I didn't plan it. I just knew, suddenly, that I needed to go. I packed almost nothing. A few clothes, a notebook, a pen that still worked. I wasn't running from my life exactly. I just wanted to see what was left of me underneath all the noise. I stood there for a long moment before I turned it off. My phone had become a second heartbeat, always buzzing, always demanding. Turning it off felt less like switching off a device and more like exhaling for the first time in years. I didn't tell anyone. Not my roommate, not my closest friend, not even my mother. I told myself it was only a week, but some part of me already suspected I was leaving to find something I couldn't name yet. I locked the door behind me the way you close a book you're not sure you'll return to. Somewhere behind me, my life would keep buzzing without me. Notifications piling up, messages unanswered. I let that thought sit there, and then I kept walking. I thought I was escaping the world. That's what it felt like in that first mile. Like I was running from something loud and demanding, towards somewhere quiet enough to finally hear myself think. I never imagined I was about to find myself standing on that platform. All I knew was that I needed silence. I had no idea silence would turn out to be the loudest teacher I'd ever had. The train pulled away, and with every mile, the city grew smaller behind the glass. I watched it shrink until it was just a smudge of gray on the horizon, and something in my chest loosened, just slightly. Fields replaced buildings. Farmhouses replaced billboards. Nobody on this train seemed to be in a hurry, and slowly, without trying, I stopped being in a hurry too. I opened my notebook and wrote the first honest sentence I'd written in months. I don't know who I am when no one is watching. I didn't know yet how much that 1 week would answer it. Somewhere past noon, I fell asleep without meaning to. A real, deep sleep, the kind I hadn't had in years. I woke to mountains rising outside the window, and for a moment, I forgot to feel anxious about anything at all. The tracks began to climb. Stone villages appeared and disappeared between the peaks, like something out of an old story. I checked my bag for my phone out of habit, then remembered. It was off, and so, for once, was I. The train slowed at a station so small it barely had a platform. A hand-painted sign named the village I'd chosen almost at random weeks ago. My hands were steady as I stood to leave. I didn't feel afraid anymore. The train pulled away behind me, and then there was nothing but wind and birds and the outline of mountains against a softening sky. I stood there a long moment, just breathing. It was, I think, the quietest my ears had ever been. I pulled out my phone once, out of instinct, and found not a single bar of signal. I laughed out loud, alone on that empty lane. There was nowhere left to check. There was only the village and me and whatever came next. An innkeeper with kind, weathered hands showed me to a small room above her guest house. She didn't ask why I'd come, or how long I was staying, or whether I was running from something. She just said, "Rest well," and left me to it. My room had a narrow bed, a wooden desk, and a window that opened onto an entire mountain range. No television, no Wi-Fi password taped to the wall, just space and silence and the sound of my own breathing. I set my phone on the nightstand, screen down, and didn't touch it again. It felt strange at first, like leaving a part of myself switched off in a drawer. By the second hour, I'd almost forgotten it was there at all. Dinner was simple. Bread still warm from the oven, a soft cheese, a bowl of soup that tasted like someone's grandmother had made it. I ate slowly, without a screen propped in front of me. I'd forgotten food could taste like that. That first night, I lay in the dark and realized I couldn't remember the last time a room had been this quiet. No hum of traffic, no blue light, just the sound of wind finding its way through old wooden shutters. I slept 9 hours that night. I hadn't slept 9 hours in longer than I could remember. When I woke, for one disoriented second, I reached for my phone. Before I remembered, I didn't need to reach for anything at all. For the first time in years, I woke up without checking notifications. There was no red circle waiting for me, no 17 unread messages. There was only birdsong and light on the ceiling and the strange luxury of nowhere to rush to. The mornings were filled with birdsong instead of alarm tones. I opened the shutters and let the cold air wake me the honest way, the way mornings are supposed to work before we filled them with screens. I washed my face with cold water from a basin and looked at myself properly in the small mirror. Really looked, without a filter or a front-facing camera between us. I looked tired. I looked underneath the tired, like someone I recognized. Downstairs, the innkeeper poured me coffee without asking how I took it, and somehow got it exactly right. We didn't talk much. I was starting to learn that silence, shared with the right person, isn't empty at all. Breakfast took 45 minutes. 45 minutes for eggs and bread and coffee, with nothing else demanding my attention. I hadn't realized how much of my life I'd been eating standing up, phone in hand, barely tasting anything. I stepped outside with absolutely nowhere to be. No calendar, no meeting, no one waiting for a reply. I stood on that cobblestone street and felt something I hadn't felt in years. An entire day belonged only to me. I walked without a destination. No map, no directions app, just my own 2 feet deciding where to turn. It was, I realized halfway down the street, the first unplanned hour I'd had in longer than I wanted to admit. I spent hours walking through quiet forests. The trees here didn't care what my job title was, or how many messages I'd left unanswered. They just stood there, patient and enormous, and let me walk among them. The path narrowed, and the light turned green and gold through the canopy. I ran my hand along a mossy trunk, just to feel something real under my fingers. I couldn't remember the last time I'd touched something without also photographing it. I sat on a fallen log and just listened. A woodpecker somewhere. Wind moving branch to branch like a slow wave. No podcast, no music, no voice in my ear telling me what to think about it. Just the forest, being a forest. I found a patch of wildflowers I couldn't name and didn't try to. I used to need to label everything, search it, verify it, share it. Here, it was enough to just kneel there and admire something without needing to know its name. The trail opened onto a clearing, and suddenly the whole valley was laid out below me, mist still clinging to the lower slopes. I stood there for a long time. Nobody needed to see this moment except me. That felt like enough. I brought my notebook on the walks now, and I wrote sitting on rocks and fallen trees instead of typing on trains and elevators. The words came slower this way, but they felt more like mine. By the time I turned back toward the village, my legs ached in the good way. The way that means you actually used your body for something besides carrying a phone from room to room. I hadn't felt that kind of tired in years. There was a lake at the edge of the village, so still it looked like glass. I brought a book I'd been meaning to read for 2 years and never opened. Out here, with nothing else pulling at my attention, I finally could. I sat on the edge of a small dock with my feet nearly touching the water, and I read for 3 hours without once reaching for my phone. 3 hours. I used to lose that much time to a screen without noticing at all. Every so often, I'd look up from the page just to look at the lake, at the mountains doubled in its surface, at nothing in particular. I used to feel guilty for doing nothing. Here, doing nothing started to feel like the whole point. I waded into the cold water without planning to, laughing at how sharp and alive the cold felt against my skin. I couldn't remember planning the last time I'd done something just because it felt good in the moment, with no photo to prove it happened. An old man fishing nearby struck up a conversation without once looking at a screen the entire time. He asked what brought me here. I told him the truth, that I wasn't sure yet, but I was starting to find out. I lay back in the grass and watched clouds move for what felt like the first time since childhood. There was nowhere I needed to be, no update I was missing, just sky moving slowly, exactly the way it always had been. By the time I left the lake, the sky had turned the color of the inside of a shell. I walked back slower than I needed to. For once in my life, I wasn't trying to get anywhere faster. There was a small cafe at the corner of the village square, the kind of place that looked like it had been serving the same 3 tables since before anyone could remember. I went in, mostly to get out of the wind. I ordered something warm and sat by the window, and for a while I just watched the square outside. An old man sweeping his doorstep, 2 children chasing a cat. Nothing urgent happening anywhere at all. The cafe owner, a woman with kind, creased eyes and flour dust still on her apron, asked if I was traveling alone. I said yes. She smiled like she already understood something I hadn't said out loud yet. The world becomes louder when your phone becomes silent, she said, wiping down the counter like she hadn't just said something that would stay with me for the rest of my life. I asked her what she meant. She only smiled and refilled my cup. I sat with her sentence long after she'd walked away. The world becomes louder when your phone becomes silent. I thought about all the years I'd spent making myself smaller so a screen could take up more space. I wrote her words down before I could forget them, the ink a little uneven from how quickly my hand was moving. Some sentences find you exactly when you're ready to hear them. I think that one had been waiting for me my whole trip. I thanked her before I left, and she just nodded like she'd said this same sentence to 100 other tired travelers before me, and knew every time that it would land exactly where it needed to. Every evening, I wrote in my journal instead of scrolling endlessly. It started as something to fill the silence. By the third night, it had become the part of the day I looked forward to most. I filled pages I never would have written with a phone in my hand. There's something about ink that makes you tell the truth slower and somehow more honestly than a screen ever let me. Some nights I'd write for an hour and only fill half a page because I kept stopping to just sit with what I'd written. I didn't used to let myself sit with anything. There was always another tab open, another notification waiting. I started to notice my own handwriting again, how it changed depending on my mood, how it slanted when I was tired and steadied when I was calm. My phone had never shown me anything that honest about myself. After writing, I'd stand at the window and look at the stars, which were absurdly, almost unfairly bright out here without any city light to dull them. I hadn't seen a sky like that since I was a child. I blew out the candle each night the way you close a door on a good day, gently, without regret. I was starting to understand that rest isn't something you earn. It's something you simply have to choose to let yourself have. I fell asleep each night with my journal within arm's reach instead of my phone. I didn't wake once that whole week to check the time. My body had started trusting the sun again to tell me when to rise. I started noticing little things. The smell of fresh bread rising through the guest house floorboards every morning like a gentle alarm. I used to eat breakfast without ever really smelling it. The sound of rain on wooden windows. I'd heard rain my whole life through double-glazed city glass, muffled and far away. Here it tapped and pattered like it was trying to tell me something, and for once I actually listened. The warmth of a cup of tea between my hands. I don't think I'd ever actually felt a cup of tea before that week. I'd always been holding it while doing 3 other things. Here, holding it was the only thing I was doing. I stood in the doorway and watched the rain turn the cobblestones dark and shining. Somewhere in my old life, rain was an inconvenience, something that ruined a commute. Here, it was just beautiful, and I let it be only that. I watched the innkeeper knead dough with hands that had clearly done it 10,000 times before. And I realized how rarely I'd watched anyone do anything with their full, undivided attention, including myself. The little things kept adding up. A worn wooden spoon, a creak in the third stair, the particular blue of the sky right after rain stops. None of it was extraordinary. All of it, somehow, felt like a gift I'd been too busy to open before. When the rain finally cleared, the whole village smelled like wet stone and pine. I stood at the window and breathed it in like I was trying to memorize it. I think, somewhere in that breath, I stopped missing my old life entirely. On the 5th day, I realized something surprising, sitting right there on the doorstep with the sun on my knees. I tried to remember the last time I'd thought about my phone. I couldn't. Not once, not that whole morning. I hadn't thought about my phone once. Not while I woke, not while I ate, not while I walked. 5 days ago, I couldn't survive an elevator ride without checking it. Now I'd nearly forgotten it existed. The silence I was afraid of had become my favorite companion. I used to think quiet was something to fill, with music, with scrolling, with anything that made the empty space go away. Now the empty space felt like the most honest room I'd ever stood in. I wrote for a long time that afternoon, trying to understand what had actually changed. It wasn't the mountains, or the lake, or even the cafe owner's words, though all of it mattered. It was simply that I'd finally stopped performing my life and started living it. The innkeeper asked, gently, if I'd found what I came looking for. I told her I hadn't known what I was looking for when I arrived. She just smiled and said that was usually how it worked. I sat on a low stone wall with tea going lukewarm in my hands, and I let myself simply be there, unphotographed, unshared, unremarkable to anyone but me. It might have been the most peaceful hour of my entire life. I closed my eyes and just felt the sun on my face for a long moment. Nothing was happening. Nothing needed to happen. For the first time in longer than I could remember, nothing happening was exactly enough. On the last morning, I packed slower than I needed to. I folded my notebook on top of my clothes like it was the most valuable thing in the bag. In a way, by then, it was. The innkeeper hugged me at the door like she'd known me far longer than a week. "Come back before you forget this feeling," she said. I promised her I would, and I meant it more than I'd meant most promises in years. I walked to the station the long way, past the cafe, past the lake, past the forest edge where I'd sat on that fallen log. I wanted to remember the shape of this place with my whole body, not just a photograph. On the train, I held my phone in my hand for a long time before turning it on. Some small part of me was afraid that switching it back on would undo everything the week had given me. I turned it on anyway. I had to know. When I finally turned my phone back on, hundreds of notifications were waiting for me. Messages, missed calls, unread everything. The old version of me would have felt a spike of panic. I just watched the numbers climb and felt strangely calm. But for the first time, none of them felt urgent. I scrolled through maybe a third of the messages, and then simply set the phone face down and looked back out the window. Whatever was waiting could keep waiting a little longer. The city skyline rose slowly back into view, the same as I'd left it. Buildings and noise, and 1,000 lights I used to mistake for importance. I watched it come closer and realized, quietly, that I was not the same person who had left it behind. Because during that one quiet week, I found something I had been searching for all along. I stepped off the train into all that noise and motion, and for once, none of it swept me up with it. People rushed past me in every direction, eyes down, shoulders tense, each of them carrying some version of the noise I used to carry too. I walked slower than all of them, and for the first time, that didn't feel like falling behind. I unlocked my apartment door the way you open a book you weren't sure you'd finish. Everything inside looked exactly the way I'd left it. I was the only thing in the room that had changed. I set my bag down and looked around at my own life like a visitor. The same furniture, the same walls. But I noticed for the first time in years how loud my apartment had always been, even with the television off, even in silence. That night, I sat by my window with my journal instead of my phone, the way I had every evening in the mountains. The city lights blinked on below me, one by one, but for once they didn't pull at me the way they used to. I wrote one last line before I closed the journal that night. Peace was never somewhere out there waiting for me. It had been quietly available the whole time, underneath all that noise I'd mistaken for a full life. Peace. That's what I'd been searching for all along, without ever naming it properly. It hadn't been waiting for me in the mountains. Not really. It had been waiting for me to finally stop running long enough to notice it was already there.